Now trust me when I say snug, I don't mean over tighten. This wrench, I could over tighten those nuts. I could over tighten those nuts if I wanted without realizing it. The tighter the better. No, you want it snug and just a little bit extra oomph, and that's it. And I'm going to leave it about where I think it needs to be, okay? And worst case scenario, after I turn the water back on and all that kind of stuff, if it's just barely dripping from there, then I can come down here and put my wrench on there and go a 1/16 of a turn, let's say, and that's it. And then try it again. If it's still leaking, 1/16 of a turn, that's it. And if it's still leaking, it might mean you cross-threaded something. It might mean that your threads are so old it's not gonna stop leaking unless you put Teflon tape on there. Okay, and then try it again and all that kind of stuff. But I got it pretty good. I feel pretty confident it's not going to leak. And I'll flop this back. I'll flop that back over before I put the handles back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the handles on now, and that will be my next step. Here's something I don't want you to miss. Before I put those on there, could I have reached in there from here and tightened those down? Yeah, I could have, but I didn't. I got down on my back and I shimmied back through there so I could hold my hand up there underneath there nice and snug before I tighten that. I didn't want to go too much because you'll know what I'm talking about. You're trying to tighten that and you might be putting pressure on that pipe at the same time pulling out. Last thing you want is for one of those to pop off or something like that, okay? And so I kind of hold it together, and it kind of helped me determine how tight to make those nuts. And that's why I crawled back in there on my back again. Hey, could I have done it the other way? Yeah. But I wanted to be safe rather than sorry. I gotta laugh. Did you catch that when I was telling you what way to put those on from left to right or whatever? That's not gonna be it. Once I turn the water back on, if this is still not going exactly where I want, I could unscrew it, take the end off, and then swivel it to where I want, and then screw it back in, right? Because once I turn it on, this could be facing up or something. But you see that one to the left, that's exactly where I want it, at the angle, so that this pipe for the cold water doesn't want to slip out. I don't think it ever will, but see this one for the hot water, now that I tightened everything up, it's pushing back. Probably doesn't matter which direction this is, but if I want it, if this ever wants to do something later on, I could readjust that. However, once I turn the water back on, obviously I'm not ready to turn the water on yet, right? Because I got to snap that in and put this on. So that's my next step. Okay, so my next step is I want to put this, slip this under here. I've already got the end on, and before everything is all said and done, I've got to remember to tighten this up just slightly with my crescent wrench. Okay, I'm not going to do it right now, but I have to remember to do that, right? Because if I need to pull this back out again, I don't want to keep loosening this, tightening it, loosening it, tightening it. But the idea with that one too is you should not have to use Teflon tape on those threads. But if you have an old one, 15 years old, and it's leaking there, and you've tightened up the nut here and it's still dripping there, and you don't know it until this is up in here and it's in here and it drips down in there, and you need to fix that, and you think, oh, I need a new faucet, undo that, put some Teflon tape around those threads, and then screw it on there again nice and snug and see what happens, and that might fix your leak. Okay, so now that I got that up there, I've got to what do I have to do now? I've got to put this nut, slip that sleeve up there, remember? and then just tighten it snug. I don't have to over tighten it or anything like that, or put it up there and take a pair of pliers and just go like that, just a little bit, even a crescent wrench, whatever. Okay, I don't really think I'm gonna have to pull this back out, but I've got to remember to tighten that up. Okay, you need to remind me on that, right? I'm gonna push this up there, and then I've got to determine where this goes down there to check the proper up and down, in and out on that. Lots of times, like I say, there's something where you can push this up and it just stops. Well, this one doesn't have that, does it? There's nothing under there that would catch that. I don't quite like that. A lot of times with these, what happens after a while, something gets worn on there, and then every time you push it up, it doesn't want to stay, and it pulls down, and forevermore, you've got this sink faucet like this. You know what I mean? Well, first off, you need to make sure this is adjusted properly underneath your sink. Secondly, you got to make sure you even have one of these. If you don't have one, you can buy these at local hardware stores. Okay, and we got to make sure that's positioned properly, don't we? Underneath there. Okay. All right. Okay. I tighten that up. Remember, this has that little plastic goodie, and that when it comes, this plastic is protecting the end. Pull that off, and there you've got your hole. You've got your little gasket right there, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to clip it in. Okay, where am I going to clip it? Do you remember? I'm going to pull you off of here. Humor me here for a minute. And this thing here, right here, I'm just going to push it up in that, and it's going to snap and clip right in. And so see, this is going to be down here like that. And in fact, I wonder if I can do it just with my hand, my left hand. Let's see. There. You see there? Look at that. I clipped it in already. Okay. You see what I mean about this? I've got to make sure that's pulled down all the way. See, as I pull that down, that goes up, see? Boing. And I'm going to want to put that kind of towards the bottom. Not up too high, but down to the bottom, but high enough up so that it gives that a little bit oomph. So it's close to the bottom, but off to the left a little bit from where this goes up and down. Make sense? Okay, that's what I'm going to try next. And I like this one because all you do is unsnap it and pull it apart, and I'll do that next, and we'll see how that works out. Okay, and if I have to, then I have to unclip it again and say, okay, just up a little bit higher, just down a little bit lower, and check it up and down, up and down. As you can see, this pipe here that's coming down, it's hitting the edge right here. So if I put this too low, as you pull this up and down, depending, it might hit the edge of this every single time. You know what I mean? And so for that reason, I might want it just above this, so that when they raise it up, there's enough room to pull it out of there without it hitting that. You don't want to hit that ka-clunk, ka-clunk, ka-clunk every single time you pull this out. But if I put that right there, that means I only have from here to there, I only have a foot and maybe 18 inches to pull this out, maybe about that far. Is that enough for you? That's probably enough. Because if I needed to pull it out any further, then that weight would hit the bottom. You see what I mean? So I'm going to have to check that out, and I think I'll be fine. I'll show you what that looks like next.